Hey, what's up everybody? It's BDF44 coming at you with another video. So, as I promised, I said I was going to come back after the previous video. Come back to you guys when I have the right name for the player that I wanted to talk about, because he's one of the more intriguing players that I've seen in recent memory, to be completely honest with you. The name of this player is Scottie Barnes. Now, Scottie Barnes is going to be projected to be coming out somewhere around the 5th spot, 4th, 5th pick, something like that. Probably 5th pick, maybe falls to 6th, something like that. What I saw from this player, now first of all, I want to say this: if you're looking for him to stretch the floor and shoot the three, it's one of the things that he's not going to be able to do for you. He's competent shooting the ball, but when you think about him shooting the ball, it's more so along the lines of only take it when you're open and make sure you're comfortable with the shot you take. Take your time. You don't want him shooting the three. You don't want him getting excited about the three. If he starts getting better at it, then he can become competent from behind the arc, but that is not his game. So if that's what you need, you move on. However, this player is very, very special, man, because the thing about Scottie Barnes is he's about like 6'8", something like that, with like a 7'2" wingspan. And his specialty basically is defense. And what he's good at is taking smaller, quicker players from the top of the key and tracking them all the way down to wherever they're headed in the offense. This is the guy that you put on the guys that nobody wants to guard. This is the guy you put on Dame Lillard. This is the guy you put on Steph Curry. This is the guy you put on even the players bigger than that. You put on Bradley Beal. You put on these are the guys you put on him. You put him on those guys, and you just let him do what he does. He's so fast, and he is so disruptive with his long arms, and he's so good defensively that to me he looks like the type of player like Bruce Bowen, if Bruce Bowen were given a much bigger body. He's well, whose other names that come to mind? A much better, much more defined version of like a. I don't want to say that name because I think that might be blasphemous. But he's one of those super defenders. You understand what I'm saying to you? Like, but the thing about him is, unlike a lot of guys his size, you want to put him on guys that are supposed to be too fast, because he's too damn fast. He moves like a linebacker, y'all. And with those, like I said, the arm length and his ability to just be good defensively, move his arm, moves his legs, be active, track defense with his mind, this could be one of the premier defenders in all of basketball. I'm telling you. I look at like guys like Matisse Thybulle. That's another guy that I think is super gifted in that way. This guy's kind of like that, but bigger and more capable because he's faster, more athletic than a guy like Thybulle. This is a problem, y'all. But this is what makes him even more dangerous. On the other side of the ball, offensively, yeah, he does not shoot the three. He doesn't have a mid-range jump shot. So if you're asking him to do any of this, no. But he has passing gene. Like Ben Simmons, he's genius passer. He has the ability to do all kinds of weird whip passes and make passes in time and on the right time and in your pocket. He can do things passing the rock that are extraordinary. So now you couple that also with his ability to jump out the gym, because he's a leaper. He's like a dunk. He's a guy you can put in a dunk contest. So he's doing all the under the leg stuff, all that crazy dunking stuff that you can see some of the best dunkers in the game do. He's also one of those who's going to ignite your crowd. So my concern would be with him, can he get good enough from behind the arc and at the free throw line to make himself playable, just like Ben Simmons, just like Matisse Thybulle, just like a lot of these defensive players. Can they be competent enough on the offensive end? But unlike a guy like Thybulle, this dude can pass the rock, so he's going to make other people better on the offensive end and then be able to focus all of his energy on the defensive end. Dangerous player, two-way player because of it. And I think that, there are players at the top of the draft that probably help you with your spacing better. So there are certain teams that this kid can't go to based on that. But if he goes to the right team, and I look at like the Toronto Raptors, I know they're looking at a point guard because they think they're going to lose Kyle Lowry. But if Scottie Barnes is on the board, I would take a hard look at him, because you can match him up with a guy like OG Anunoby, especially if you're moving on from Pascal Siakam. You can match him up with OG Anunoby, similar build, similar body. Those two defensive big guys are going to give nightmares to teams, absolute nightmares to teams, and it's going to be a very, very fun sight to see. Another team that he would fit on very well, who's also in that range, is Orlando. They are a defensive-minded team. Now, they could use a little more shooting, so I think they should probably go after the shooter in the draft that's a little further down. But he's the type of player they can match up with some of their other defensive players and continue on this path of being defensive-minded as they've been. I don't know that the Orlando Magic can win that way. They really do need to focus on the offensive side of the ball a little more. But he fits right in, and they would be one of the top. As he develops and as the rest of that team would develop, they would turn into one of the premier defensive teams in the league, in my opinion. So that's what I wanted to say, man. I'm just super intrigued by the idea that you have this huge basketball player that is up for taking on challenges of guarding smaller players. I think of his long arms and his ability to be as fast as he is, as somebody who can actually disrupt the 40-foot three-point shot that Dame Lillard and Steph Curry takes. He's the guy that you put out there and you prevent that shot from going down. He's the guy who's quick enough and smart enough and savvy enough moving his feet to where he could stay with those guys and as they move and stuff like that. It's going to be interesting, man. Of course, guys like Kyrie Irving are going to cross him up, because there's nobody that a guy like that can't cross up. Guys like James Harden are still going to have success against this guy, because great offense beats great defense. But if I want somebody guarding those guys, he's one of those players that I think gives me the best opportunity to be effective against a player like that. Because you see, like, if you think about in the NBA Finals, you know, how much success a guy like Drew Holiday had against Chris Paul, and how much, you know, trouble he was able to give a guy like, you know, Devin Booker. I think about that and I say, well, this is what this guy can do. He can do a lot of that, but he's so much bigger. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you can imagine a guy who's moving just as quick as Drew Holiday, but almost twice his size. So it's one of those type of things. It's like, all right, you know, I know people are going to want to play him at the 4. They're going to want to play him at the 3. And I think that takes him a little bit away from what it is that makes him ultimately special. It kind of drowns him back into just a traditional defensive 4 or defensive 3. But if you continue to put him on these little bitty guards, if he's able to stay on the floor without getting in foul trouble, because he's going to be very, very, very hasty, and, you know, he's active, he bumps. So in this league, I think foul trouble is going to be the thing that could probably hurt him. But if he's able to, you know, if they fix these rules so that the game's not so soft, a guy like that can be all defensive player every year, all the year. Like, he's one of those guys. So extremely intrigued by Scottie Barnes. His offensive deficiencies would keep me from taking him in the top 3, but this guy has potential to be one of the premier defensive players in all of basketball, in my opinion. This is a next level defensive athlete, and I just haven't seen too many players like him. That's the thing. It's like, he's so big, y'all. That's the thing. you cannot imagine. And with the foot speed that he has, he can keep up with the John Walls. He can keep up with guys like that. You can put him on De'Aaron Fox. He could actually stay with him. Like, this is a dangerous player. And as he continues to put on strength, every game he's in is gonna be ugly to watch. He's a disruptor. He's one of those guys, man. He's a giant Patrick Beverly. You're gonna hate playing against this dude. Old school Ron Artest. That's who he is. Scottie Barnes, y'all. So, thank you guys for watching. That's what I got. I'm out.